the album is killer. I'll probably say this again in the when we're fully in the episode, but this is probably like one of my most anticipated records so far this year, and I'm so
Hey,
happy that it's
Oh,
finally
wow.
out. It's just amazing.
that's cool. Thank you for anticipating it.
Yeah, it was my anticipated record too.
It's gonna be my most listened to album of the year. Our producer is in this really cool band called Super Bloom. Um, and he's just like, I'm really happy about Stay Inside's record. He did the record. He's like, I'm really happy about this record because when I do my Spotify Wrapped at the end of the year, people won't see that all my top 5 songs are my own band. So he's like, at least they can be your band this year for 1 year.
Look at this meal.
We're kind of balling right now. Like sometimes it's balling in my apartment, sometimes it's not. Right now,
a little bit of
I've got
But
an
today,
old fashioned and I've got a coffee and a water. We've got pasta.
you know,
All right.
living the dream.
Living the dream.
All right, in 3, 2, 1. Welcome to the Beers with Bands podcast with your host, Michael Torres. What is up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Beers with Bands. This week, I'm very stoked to have this band on. I'm sitting down with the band Stay Inside. How are you doing?
Hello.
Hi, we're stoked also.
I'm great.
Hell yeah. I'm stoked to have you. I kind of wish I had some of that pasta, but I'll enjoy it from here. For people that might not be aware, Stay Inside is kind of like an indie, emo, a little bit of post-hardcore band, depending on which era I feel like you listen to of Stay Inside. It's kind of changed over the years, which I love the transition. But before we get too far into it, can you kind of say who you are and what you do in Stay Inside?
Yes, I'm Chris. Chris Johns. I play guitar and do vocals for Stay Inside.
And I'm Bryn, and I play bass and sometimes sing, and then I also play a little synth and lots of stuff. We can be doing the writing.
She's just doing
I'm
stuff.
hanging out.
We're right now in my Greenpoint, Brooklyn apartment together.
That's right. This is not a Zoom call. We're both in the same room. The clinking wasn't a sound effect.
With our pasta.
Right. And then I know we are missing a couple members. Who are they and what do they do in Stay Inside?
Chris Lawless is the other guitarist in the band, and then Vishnu Anantha is our drummer. And then also touring member Matt Hull plays trumpet and played most of the trumpet on that record.
Which I will be talking about the trumpet here in a little bit because I know you posted about it on Instagram and everyone's always like, the horns. I love the horns, but I got to talk about it at some point during.
You got to tell us how you love the horns too.
I know. It's got to be out there. But as I normally say for members that aren't able to make it with us, this is where we kind of pour one out in their honor. And by pour one out, I just say I really mean we just have a drink in their honor since they're not here with us tonight.
Chris and
So this is to them.
Oh, you gotta move your thumb off it so we can get the resonant clink.
Oh, I was stem holding it before I wrote it.
Oh.
Oh yeah. This orange wine is good.
Hell yeah. But like I mentioned, y'all are Stay Inside. I think the first EP, I don't know why I say I think, I have it all written down on my notes. The first EP came out in 2018 called The Sea Engulfs Us and the Light Goes Out. Which I went through today and kind of listened to everything. I started at the beginning, made it all the way to Ferried Away, and then listened to Ferried Away probably like 6 more times. Just because you have to. It's amazing. And we'll get into how amazing it is here in a little bit. But, obviously that was but that was the first EP. Followed it up with LP1 Viewing in 2020. Followed that up with EP2 called Blight in 2022. For people listening, please go check out all of those. There is also vinyl for LP1 and EP2, which we'll talk about links later. But they're all amazing, and it was fun to watch watch, but listen to the transition from, EP1 to Ferried Away, where it really had more of like that post-hardcore sound leading up into like this more of like indie sound that we find on Ferried Away. Um, Obviously, I don't know how I want to word this. Location is always a big factor. Do you think it was the lifestyle of Brooklyn influencing that change through those years in the sound of Stay Inside?
I think it's probably changed our personalities over time to an extent, but a lot of our writing has been in kind of the same fashion for a while. It's gone through different phases of how we're doing it, but like if you really want to get weird, you can go on our SoundCloud and check out our demos from even a couple
Ooh.
years before that I recorded, basically with the same
Those
rig.
are still up.
Yes,
You're allowed to see them.
Yeah, you're allowed to see them only on SoundCloud for free.
Yeah, I mean, we were actually just revisiting those demos recently, and kind of noticing that they kind of sound more like Ferried Away than they do viewing. And I think, we were always a band that were sort of trying to do whatever what we were feeling at the time. And sometimes I think we're bad at expressing what we're feeling in any other way other than music. Like, probably if you talk to us at those times, we're like, we're feeling fine, I guess. I don't know. But like, we're sort of like processing a lot of things with viewing. Like, I don't know. I think that Sea engulfs us, you know, I think it's different because of Bartista's there and he's processing what he's feeling in those songs. And like, I wasn't writing as much in that time as Chris and as Johns and Bartise were. And then when Bartise left, I sort of stepped up and was helping Johns write. So I was bringing my feelings at the time, and then once we got through Blight, Ferried Away kind of became this like thing where we were writing together and it felt really fun and good, and we were having a great time. So it kind of sounds a little more colorful, I guess.
Yeah. It's like it's kind of like, what is it, the frog boiling? Is that what it is? You don't realize. We talk about this all the time, but like I don't think that any of us realized until you start putting out a couple of records that you can kind of see what was going on in your life. It's this time capsule. You look back and you say, "Oh, we did Blight. Man, I was feeling fucking weird that, like look at those words, look at that riff. Like that was a time.
It was a dark time.
It was a dark time, and you don't realize it until later on. And like, 2 years time gives you a lot of perspective. And it's cool to see these little moments in your life actually like documented in some other way that's not just like photos of where we were. It's just like, yo, this is what was happening. This is what we were creating. This is like what was coming out of us.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's, I think, one of my favorite things about bands that have been around for so long and like putting out multiple releases, to kind of bounce off that, like as a viewer or listener, seeing like those timestamps of just like, oh, this is where they were in their lives, like here, like this, like obviously they were going through some shit. They can still be going through some shit here, but I don't know if it's like hitting as hard, or you see those peaks and valleys throughout a band's life.
Yeah, totally. And I don't know, I don't think I'm definitely not alone on this. But I don't know how common it is to kind of like understand the emotionality of like what's happening with people, or like conceptually how music is made. And by that I mean, when I wasn't writing music before this happened, and I was finding cool albums on Rate Your Music and wherever, Pitchfork, whatever was cool in the early 2010s. You look at these creations like, oh, why would he have chosen this bass line for this part of the song? It doesn't take into concept this and this, and therefore is not good. And then you kind of like make the music and you realize you don't really have as much of a choice as you thought, or people don't really have as much of a choice to like pick these things. It just kind of happens.
Yeah, and I mean, one thing that's especially like from when I was a kid, when people change their vibe, there's a lot of things where you get kind of pigeonholed, where people are like, they want one emotion from you. I feel like a lot of bands, from when I was a kid, would make a really happy record and then make a sad record, or make a sad, vice versa. And people would be like, "This is not what I want. I want him to scream. I want him to be sad." And it's like,
Right.
people are not one thing. And I guess, in a certain way, people might say, "Oh, they're better at being sad than they are being happy," or whatever. But like, a big example I remember is when Nine Inch Nails made With Teeth, and people were like, "I don't want to hear Trent make dance music," and it's like, well, he's an incredible artist, so I feel like maybe that's a you problem.
Yeah,
Um,
I have to imagine that he didn't say, I'm going to make a dance album. He
yeah, he's
probably was
having a
just
good
like
time.
making music and got a few songs in. He was just like, yo, I guess this is
It's like not
it.
addicted,
That's cool.
Right.
addicted to heroin anymore. He's having a fun time now.
Yeah, it's I think growing up too, I was also one of those people where I would, feel like all hipstery when I would say, "Oh, their older stuff was better," just because it always sounded like consistent and everything. But
Yeah.
as I've grown, like it's nice seeing the changes in the progress and changes in people's like desires to put stuff out. Like one example I use all the time, granted, it's kind of like an extreme example, and as I say it every time, this is no shade to the band, but 100th, they went from being like a metalcore band to kind of just switching it all up and being shoegaze. It threw a lot of people for a loop, um, but at the same time, it's like it's what they're feeling now. Like this is their life. Like they've progressed where they don't feel like they need to be that other version of themselves anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, luckily we didn't have so many people who loved viewing that. I feel like, and it's not so different that it's like, oh, if you like viewing, you'll hate this. I don't know. I feel
Yeah,
like
there's
people
a
are
good
finding out about us
transition.
now.
Yeah, there's a good transition, and it's not like a complete departure, especially when there's songs that still have the viewing.
And in a certain way, they're kind of both about the same thing, just from like different perspectives. I feel like they're not that different of records conceptually, just in aesthetic and tone. And I guess this one has more of an intentional message, I guess.
Yeah. And it's a different type of loss.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sometimes.
Sometimes.
And the album that we keep like hinting at and talking about is Ferried Away, which at the time of this recording, it's been out for a week. We're a week since the
Oh yeah.
actual drop. Well, I guess 6 days if you want to count the 29th. I know you were, I think, really hoping for the 29th, but it came out on the 28th.
Yeah.
We're not gonna get we're not gonna get sticky about
Screwed
it.
that one up. We wanted the leap year release.
I realized how like thematically resonant it would have been to be on a leap year, a day that like literally doesn't exist most times. So in my heart, it came out on the 29th, but we were just like, I don't know, Wednesday, I guess.
It's kind of doomed to fail if you think about it.
I mean, Wednesday, we only picked it because it was like it's a couple days before Friday.
Right.
Could have been Thursday.
We wouldn't have to compete with Mannequin Pussy.
Right, exactly. People got
true.
to spend a couple of days with it before they changed to Mannequin Pussy.
And I know, like I mentioned before we fully started the episode, this was probably one of my most anticipated albums for this year. Um, what's been the response on this album so far in obviously just a week's time?
I would say that there's been more of like an emotional response than I was expecting or anything that I've ever really uh gotten from music before. And I think that like we just to Bryn's point earlier, kind of like had really a concept that a lot of the songs ended up being about. We didn't say we're going to make a concept album about this. We were just like, 7 songs into writing the thing, and Bryn was like, "Hey, do you realize that all of these songs are about this?" And I was just like, "Oh,
Yeah, I guess they are.
I guess they are." And then we just kind of like really,
it's like
really,
the big chill.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, and then we, thought about that for a while, and tried to like actually dissect the thing of how people could digest it a little bit better than normal, which was something that I'm not really used to doing, because I like writing about my feelings, and then it's just my own little words, and then it's my own thing. But this time it was just like, okay, well, maybe we could let people in a little bit, and that's been really cool, to be honest. Like people resonating a little bit more.
Yeah, seeing the responses that I've seen, um, and like you said, like the resonance that it's hitting with people is truly amazing to see, because that's not to be like in your own way. You don't want to be like self-centered of like, I want people to like connect with this, or like I want them to enjoy this, but like I feel like everyone's enjoying it in such a good way where you're kind of allowed to just kind of be like, kind of like just revel in the fact that everyone enjoys it so much.
Yeah, I
Which
mean,
is
I do.
nice.
And I don't think that that's like some sort of self gratification kind of thing. I mean, like when Viewing came out, I think that there were people that were like, wow, what a good album. What a well constructed post hardcore album. And I was like, oh, cool. I've done a good job. And now people are like, hey, man, this has like happened uh, like weirdly many times. People have like messaged us or written about like, I've called my friend from childhood and we've reconnected because of this album. And I'm just like,
Oh shit.
yeah, that's fucking crazy. That good. That my kind of point of the record was like, I probably won't call these people, and that's kind of sad. But I think it's been like in a different way, like this weird inspirational thing for a few people, and that's really fucking cool.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it was like I feel like it it's a record about like recognizing that in the most like in artistic way of like it's a record about realizing that you only have so much time with the people you love, and every day you're choosing to either spend time with them or not, and being okay with whatever that choice is. um but I think a lot of people took it as like, oh, I'm not okay with this choice.
Yeah.
And I wasn't expecting that. Like I've spent years of my life, making my situation like having the people I love in my life all the time. And that's it. Like I have my group and I'm really happy with it. And it's sort of, I wasn't like preaching, but it's like, be happy with that. And I think a lot of people were like, oh, I don't have a community around me, and I don't have the people I love in my life, and it's my fault, and I can change that.
Yeah.
And that was not something I was expecting. Like, honestly, I just like being very selfish. Like, I just like didn't think about the people that would hear it. Because I feel like we talked about a lot, like, oh, people will relate to this because they have like, we all kind of experienced this big upheaval of like their friends leaving or people moving
Right.
or whatever over the past couple of years. And I was like, yeah, people will relate to our exact feelings. And I honestly never really thought like, oh, people won't relate to that, but they will be so moved by it that it will make them want to. And that's been like pretty like really incredibly gratifying and lovely to hear from people. And it's not something we experienced on Viewing, like you said. Like, Viewing had some nice write-ups, had some good reviews, and that was exciting. But like this is like people we don't know, I've never met, and maybe we never will met, just being like, hey, you like really helped something happen in my life is like, wow.
Yeah, for reference, like the first song that came out on this record is called "A Backyard," and it's about my friend Zach who lives in New Jersey, and I hadn't talked to him for a while. And it's about um, biking out to his house, which was like a 4 hour fucking bike ride from my apartment here, where we ended up on a literal highway because of Google Maps. Thank you. Um, and like going there and realize, and feeling like out of touch with this life that he kind of built, and like sitting out in his suburban home with his daughter, and his wife, and the neighbors came over, and like they just all had this little community that they had, and I wasn't a part of it, and it was just like it just was a really weird feeling on the 4 hour ride back, like thinking about like what this is between us. And then the song came out, and he texted me like the day it came out and was like, wow, man, this song really like it's really getting at me for some reason. And then he realized the day after without me telling him, he was like, oh, this one's about me. And then we met up like 2 days later and had dinner, and it was this great time. And that's awesome. It was like I was like, okay, well, yeah, this might tug at some people.
Yeah. I will say, you know, a backyard showed up on a playlist. I think you guys posted about how you guys are done with Spotify and like showed like the Apple Music playlist, and one of those playlists is where I actually listened to that single when it first dropped, because I'm subscribed to it. Um, and I gotta say, one thing that really hooked me and got me ready for this album, and the anticipation that kind of built from that single release, was literally when you come in and you hit that first note and you just kind of go up. I was like, okay, I'm locked in now. And then obviously the rest of the song kicks in. And you listen to it, you go through it, and you feel everything. Um, but that was such a great single to start with, because it hooked me so well, to the point where I was like looking up everything, trying to figure out when this album was going to drop, and then
Hell yeah.
deciding whether to send an email to make this happen. And then the singles just kept coming, and they didn't stop coming in the best way. And I've loved everything that's come out so far, and just like the meaning behind everything, or at least the meaning that I feel like is there, because obviously everything's up to interpretation whenever you listen to something without knowing the full story. And I'm just so happy that everyone else has resonated with it.
That's awesome. No, I'm gonna like J.K. Rowling this situation, just start talking about all of the meaning later and like mess up the canon that you built around it. No, but that the falsetto thing at the beginning of Backyard, I famously stole from Rachel Leitner of Nervous Stater, who played a solo show at my apartment. I used to throw shows at my apartment in Greenpoint. And I just saw her like doing this little false, I think in like Pigeon Language or Wavelengths or some song from their first record, and I was just like, I'm good. I was the Jared Leto meme where he sees the
guy's outfit.
he sees the guy's outfit at the fashion show, and then there's like a picture of him the next day wearing that outfit. I just like
I made this.
I like ripped that from her. I was just like, yo, by the way, I was stealing that. Like,
To kind of dive a little bit deeper into this album, and I talked about this earlier. It's coming. The use of horns in this album. If everyone has seen your Instagram post, you kind of made it. You kind of spotlighted, and I'm blanking on their name. Was it Matt?
Matt.
Yeah, you spotlighted Matt, with their trumpet playing, and you kind of mentioned it wasn't originally intentional to use horns as much in this album. Um, what kind of changed? Because I love all the spots that used horns. It wasn't. I never felt like it was overly done. Um, so I always thought it came off as like the perfect amount and in the right spots to kind of balance everything out.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, it was definitely like a thing where we didn't set out being like, let's make a horns album. Like I feel like I always felt that about, I don't know if you ever heard the Cursive's album Happy Hollow.
Mm-mm.
It's the one right after Art is Hard, which just has a lot of violins and or cello, and like it has a bunch of trumpet on it. And I remember being like, did they just be like, well, we did cello, now we'll do a trumpet album? Um, it's how I felt about it when I was in high school. But we definitely didn't do that. We weren't like, let's make an album that has a interesting, different, um, a different instrument or whatever. We were writing songs, and then like John's kept putting in mouth sounds. That is the best way to describe it. Like he was just making a noise with his voice that sounded like it wasn't supposed to be something he wanted to sing, but it was like maybe a guitar will go here. And I feel like we even tried to do some of that stuff with the guitar. I feel like your first reaction when I was like, "Is that a trumpet? Are we supposed to do trumpet? Are we hiring a trumpet player?" And you were like, "No, we'll do something. Maybe it'll be a synth or something." You like kind of eschewed that idea.
I wanted to leave it with my drum like in the background, but everyone mixed that.
We had to hire a trumpet player. So yeah, it was really just that we kept once we did it the first time, once we like had trumpets on it, it actually took a little while to find somebody who could like play trumpet that didn't sound like marching band or like ska because we wanted like a more jazzy vibe. So once we got Matt on it, it was like, oh, you should, what would you do here? Like, what would you play there? And like, what if about this part? And it kind of just ended up being every song.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was like last Thursday, you know, the day after the album drops, that one playlist that I talked about gets updated every Thursday. So they added on uh Bon Z's currently is on there. And this was before I had fully listened to the entire album, and I had listened to Bon Z's, and hearing the trumpet come in after seeing your post talking about it, and I was just like it's such a great song, and then it adds in the trumpet and it just becomes like this amazing like ballad, and I'm just like, this has got to be like later in the record, and it's you start off the record with this song and it's just so big and in your face, and I'm like, if this is song one, what is the rest of this album going to look like besides like the singles that I had already listened to? And I was like everyone else, not disappointed because you just follow it up so well and you just keep the momentum going.
Thank you. Yeah, I was really excited about that song being first because it is kind of crazy and fun, and that song means a lot to me, and it's just like I don't know.
Yeah, it was a big argument.
Yeah, it was. But I feel like it's a thesis of the record. It gives a lot of perspective lyrically and emotionally, and also just like dynamically as well. So
Yeah. Also, to start off the record, you kind of do. You have this like little sound clip right at the beginning, and I can tell it's from like a race where it's talking about being neck and neck. But is it from? Obviously, I don't think it's from like a NASCAR style race. I think is it keeping in the theme of like the album art, and it's like from an actual like horse race.
yeah,
Yeah.
I actually completely forgotten where it was from. We were just trying to find a clip that of a horse race of like a victory with a horse. We wanted there was wasn't there a horse called Steeplechase? Called
There was a horse called Stay Inside.
Yes, there was a horse called Stay Inside. We were working really hard to make this fit, and then we found this cool clip, and I completely forgot what it was from. But someone the day it came out was like, "Is this from the 22 Kentucky Derby?" And I had to like look it up. I was like, "It is from the 2022 Kentucky Derby." I can't believe that there's like who's what strange person is
Yeah,
this?
what's the Venn diagram of people who remember the announcer screaming the winner of the 2022 Kentucky Derby, who listened to our album on like release day? Probably
It's
one
got,
guy.
yeah, it's definitely one person.
We are kind of a horse girl band
Definitely.
now, though. We have a lot of names and people.
I've ridden a horse like 3 times.
You're a horse girl.
But I loved that little touch to bring that in and tie it into like the bigger picture. Obviously, everyone's seen the album artwork, which in my opinion is come out amazing. I know I saw your the Instagram story today of you having that up in the record store, and just how nice it looks like on that shelf. And like and I think right before we started fully recording, like Bryn was talking about possibly doing like an actual flag of that cover art, because in my opinion it comes out so well. You have these jockeys riding with a Grim Reaper right on their tail in the mix in the pack, and that was another thing that really drew me to the record, was just a really great album artwork is basically what I'm saying.
It is I know it means a lot more to me because it's our album, but like it's the coolest album art anyone has ever had. Sorry, bands.
No, ours is the best.
No other comment.
Mic drop.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's a great album artwork, great tie-in with that intro from the 2022 Kentucky Derby. Which shout out to that one person for knowing what was going on.
That's to them.
Yeah,
I mean, I know it's like a real sport and everything, but I honestly didn't think anyone would be like, "Oh, when Rich Strike won." That just happened.
And you know how like I talked about it with a backyard, you kind of where you have like that falsetto-ness. There's another spot in um, Bonzi's that I really love too, and it's so subtle and so quick. It's like right around like the 2 minute mark, right where we get done with like the little basically like build up intro, and you kind of do like this huh, and then it kind of goes into like this little breakdown that got me so fucking hyped. Like when I was driving today, I was listening to it, and it got to that part. I was like, "Fuck yeah! Like let's roll. Let's do this."
Do you do it too?
I I was trying to do it before you guys got on, and like I couldn't time it, but like in the truck, I was like, ugh. Like I was almost there.
You're on it.
Yeah.
Nice.
Those moments are really cool. Like, you have like these moments in other people's music that just like trigger you to do something weird at the show or whatever, and you're like, oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I always love hitting those kinds of moments when I'm in the crowd,
Yeah.
like when everything drops out and it's like somebody yells and it was when I was in a math rock band in in college. We went on tour one time with this band from Florida, and they were completely instrumental like us, math rock, like really technical Hilla style stuff. And they're completely instrumental, and they were very complicated, lots of different time signatures, lots of different moving parts. But there was one song that like kind of built up, and then at one point they would all just like stop and they all went woo. And that was just like the funnest part of the whole set every single time. And I remember we had seen them like 3 times, and we like kind of made friends with them. We were playing a couple shows with them, and like on the first show of the tour, like me and the drummer just like screamed it at the right time, and they were like, "Oh wow, you really listen to the music." And it's so fun when you get to do that. And I like to put stuff like that in the record that we can at least hopefully somebody will do live.
Yeah. When we were coming up playing shows in Brooklyn like a handful of years ago with a bunch of our friends, like there were certain moments that would like become so like dramatized amongst our friends that people would start like changing the words, and then suddenly everyone in the audience is saying like the fake word that happens in this moment. And I don't know, it's just that shit is fun.
Yeah. I remember my buddies, they had a line in one of their songs that was like, I want to get better, but the way like it came out like on the record and like the way it sounded was, I want to get butter. So you would just have like all of like, you could tell who was homies with the band, because like they would just shout back like, I want to get butter, like to that line every time.
When we first started hanging out with the emo crew in Brooklyn in like 2016, one of our favorite bands and closest friends, Good Looking Friends, they had a song where just randomly in the song, he would sing the phrase "stay inside." And we would just like show up at their show and scream that as loud as we could back at and
it would mess him up every time. He would forget to watch it after. Yeah.
And that was fun too, because people would also sing that part when we were there.
Yeah. Forgot about that.
Some other cool things that
made a whole song about it.
We made a rap remix of that song. It's purely on Bandcamp. It's available.
Do not look for it.
It's available for the low price of $420.69. I haven't had any purchases yet.
That's wild. I figured it would have like at least sold a couple times.
No.
Not one. It's youlost.bandcamp.com.
Oh my goodness.
A couple other cool things that you've done with, leading up to the release and everything around it is you have currently 3 music videos out for the singles that were released. You have, A Backyard, Sweet Stripe, and then My Fault, which I enjoyed watching all of them. They were all good in their own right with the concepts behind them. I gotta say the My Fault video was probably my favorite out of the three, conceptually, and just like the way it was shot, where you're kind of like in the room, like starting out the day, and we kind of just progress, because it's the repetitiveness of like it's always happening, and it was kind of cool to see how that was portrayed in the video.
Yeah,
Steven really knocks it out of the park with that one.
yeah. Our friend Steven Lenarchik is a great director in general, and I don't really think he's done many music videos, and I don't really think he was like thinking of these as music videos as much as they were like artistic, cool projects that he thought would be fun. And I think that before we started doing these, I was like, we got to do like a music video where we're doing this thing, we're playing, and like everyone else. And it's like now that they're done, I'm like, it's really cool that we just have these like nice different pieces, and that we didn't just do some like, not to talk just shit on every other band, but like generic ass video where they're just playing the song. We'll probably do one of those eventually once we get that fat paycheck from our next record label. But like,
Yeah.
But I like them. I think they're cool.
I like them too. I think they're great.
Yeah, they came out sick. I thought there was something that I had in my head, but yeah, all three were great, and everyone that's listening, please go check those out as well, because you'll love them. Is there any plans? I know we kind of hinted at like maybe label money later, but is there any plans for another one of these songs to possibly get music video wise? I had a good word there, but I lost it.
We're really hoping to do another one in the next few months.
Another record?
Another music video for something on this record.
Oh, we are?
Yeah, we are.
Nice.
But there's so much to do, like Bryn and I are gonna sit down after we talk to you and go through my like endless checklist of like shit we have to handle. You wouldn't believe how many hours it takes to just like get your shows on Bands in Town and Songkick so that they're on Bandcamp and Spotify, where that so people get like notified of them. Like I can't believe after doing this record self-release, which was great because it's like more financially secure. I think that a lot of like record labels are not the best and like don't necessarily offer that much. Some of them are great, and it really depends on like your relationship with the person and all of this, but like I think it was the right decision, but I'm so tired. This is like,
yeah, it's a lot of work to try and put out a record by yourself.
Yeah. So,
but yeah, I mean, the question was, will we see another music video for one of the songs of Ferried Away? You want to?
Oh yeah,
okay,
let's do it.
Maybe we'll see.
We've got a tour in 6 weeks with Teen Suicide and Awake but Still in Bed at the end of April, so we're prepping for that.
Yeah,
maybe we'll do another tour diary for you.
I
hope definitely so. Will do that. Yeah.
No, yeah, I'm stoked to see what the next possible music video could be from this record.
What do you think it could be?
Yeah, come up with an idea.
Idea. We do I get writing credit at that point?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay,
we'll dedicate it to you. We'll put you in the video if you want.
Oh shit! Okay, I'll fly out. Don't tell me.
Wait, what city are you in?
I'm in Minneapolis.
Oh, okay. Cool.
So you especially like?
Soon?
No, we're gonna be in Milwaukee.
Oh shit.
Yeah. Just 6 hours away. But you were here for the Mall of America, so it was like we almost saw each other.
We were there. Next time we would tell you to meet up at the Caribbean place that me and Bryn got sick at the Mall of America.
Ooh.
Why do they have Caribbean food there? What kind of world is this?
I love Caribbean food. That was disgusting food there. And then we went on the SpongeBob ride right after, and like the next 8 hours for both of us was horrible. Our entire trip to Corn Palace. Or wait, where's it from? Corn Palace? I thought it was the night before.
That like little road trip vlog that I even found out that there was Caribbean food at the Mall of America, because it doesn't seem like something that should be there. Because like for people that have been there, most of the restaurants are all just like you got Rainforest Cafe. You got Bubba Gump.
Oh
You got like
yes. Oh,
you got like the named version.
The
restaurants.
top tier restaurant.
Yeah. There's Margaritaville.
Also,
you get what I'm getting at. But to hear Caribbean food at the Mall of America, just that feels like it's definitely on the lower level in my mind. Like because it's 4 stories, it'd be on the first floor, not on like the good restaurants are on the 3rd floor. That's getting really meta, but whatever.
It was on the Lego where the Lego statues are by the roller coaster.
It was in a Lego
okay.
sculpture. The giant Lego dinosaur. Your oxtail.
Mm-hmm.
How often as a native Minneapolisian do you go to the Mall of America?
Usually never, but I was actually there on Saturday, regretfully. Most people from town don't go to the mall just because there's so many people from out of town that just go. I was only there to honestly go to the Lego store, but that's I have 2 vices. Vinyl and Legos. So
Vinyl and Legos. Nice.
Both expensive habits.
Yeah, I can imagine.
The only store that I thought was cool was they had like a gaming store that had like card games and stuff.
Oh yeah.
That was pretty good.
Bryn's like a big gamer.
I'm a big gamer.
Besides like being on the road and checking out, the Corn Palace, Mall of America, and all these like Mount Rushmore with their giant bodies that are beneath the rock, as
They're
you
so
kind of put
huge.
it. Were there any like other like fun games that you did? Because a lot of those drives for people that haven't been through the Midwest or the Prairie States are boring as hell. Is there anything else that you guys did to get like past that time?
Okay, just to explain the Mount Rushmore thing for anyone who didn't see that tour vlog, when you ask them how tall Mount Rushmore is, they say like 500 feet, and you look up and you say, that's not 500 feet. There's no way that's 500 feet. And they say, well, that includes the bodies. And then you look back up and you say, there are no bodies. What the hell are you talking about, gift shop lady? And she's like, well, based on the head size, these are the presumed bodies. It's in a mountain. It makes no sense. This is like, but it only makes it more American, I think, that they're just like...
It's like when guys measure their dick based off like how...
Yeah, like I started the measurement back here, like it goes into my body a little bit.
Yeah, it's like that.
That's fair.
You gotta add 20%. There's 20% inside you. What was the question?
So besides seeing all the attractions, was there anything else that you did to stay sane in those drives? Because a lot of those drives are boring as hell.
I've absolutely lost our mind. Bryn and I, we're good friends. It was just the 2 of us coming back because the rest of the band had to fly back to get back to work and stuff, and we needed to get the car back. And it was just really nice to hang out, to be honest. Like
it was fun.
Yeah, there aren't that many opportunities that you have where like, Bryn's driving, so I'm not really allowed to be on my phone the entire time, like fucking around, because I have to keep her entertained. She drove the whole way, and it's my duty, and it's just like kind of fun to hang out for like 8 hours. When do you get the chance to do that with someone? Like very rarely.
Yeah, we played weird music. I'm trying to think of some of the weirder fun things we did. I mean, we didn't play like, if the question is like, did we play like classic card games? No. We we were just like talking about music the whole time, and
yeah,
we were just talking a lot.
When
I feel like when me and Chris hang out, it's just we have so much to say. We're just ranting at each other the whole time.
Yeah, neither one of us listening to the other one at all. The 2 of us
in one ear out the other.
It's like having 2 ping pong tables that are set up with like the sides folded up. Like we're both playing. Yeah. We're across from each other, but there's a wall in between us.
That's right.
Well, if you want a non-traditional car game to play, one that I always suggest to bands, because this is what we used to do when we were in the van on the long drive, it's called Hey Cow. It's super simple. As you're driving down the road, we just called it Hey Cow, but it really can factor in any animal that you see. But let's say you're driving down the road, you see a bunch of cows in the field, you roll down your window and yell out, "Hey cow!" However many cows turn and look at you, that's the amount of points you got for that one.
Like what's the average there? Like let's say you roll up
what's
on
a
20
2-pointer?
cows. Like what's good?
I feel like we would at least get like 3 to 4. It's not like good
Wow.
numbers, but like we also we would count it, but then we would. It's kind of like whose line is it anyways, where the points don't matter. So like we would note it and then just.
We would have to do this competitively.
Yeah.
I mean that's how it should be played.
Going in the back, we'd be doing like film review to see.
We have a log of how many points we had.
No, that one was just swatting a fly. He wasn't looking.
He didn't make eye contact.
Didn't stare into your soul. That sounds like a fun game. Something that was fun that happened was when we just had to go to the bathroom really bad, and we were outside of Jackson, Wyoming on the way back, and Bryn was like, "You need to find a place to pee because it's like we are on a mountain. It is unsafe to park anywhere." And I was just like, "Okay, there's this thing that says United States Military Vehicle Museum. I guess it's open. We'll stop there." And we pulled over, and it was insane. It's like an hour and a half outside of Jackson or something. There's nothing around. I don't know who the hell is going to this. It is a privately owned military vehicle museum. It's gigantic. There are hundreds.
500 tanks.
500 tanks and shit, like or things of tank equivalent, like helicopters or like ambulances.
Disneyland levels of like expense put into the whole vibe and the propaganda and there was music and lighting. 20 airplane hangars full of like just enormous. One of the biggest museums I've ever been in.
It was cool.
It was crazy.
It was cool. Certainly everyone in there besides us, which was not many people, were fucking lunatics.
Yeah, but it was cool.
So it's for sure like a money laundering scheme, for sure, right?
No, I think it's this really earnest, like saluting the troops. I'm like, he's a millionaire who invented heart valves. Like he invented like a fake heart valve, and he's like 100 millionaire, and he was just like, I'm into World War II so much that I'm gonna spend hundreds of millions of my fortune to like collect tanks just because he can.
And it's not like this guy's like a billionaire where like Bezos could like spend the money on this. Like we looked up his net worth and we did some calculations on like how much it costs to buy these things, to build this place. This thing is like his life. I ran some guess numbers, but I think it's like well over 50% of his net worth is like baked into this crazy thing in the middle of nowhere in Wyoming. It was sick.
Jeez.
It was crazy.
Well, bands, if you're on tour and you're going through Jackson, Wyoming, make sure you stop by, use the bathroom, walk around a little bit.
Great facilities.
Very good facilities. If you can stomach a massive amount of jingoism, feel free. It's cool. I'd go back.
Well, now, yeah, you have to go back. Just like it's a routine thing. It's like every time you're passing through, it's like, hey, look, stay inside's back again.
Every time we're passing through, yeah. The often situation.
Jackson, Wyoming.
It's like weird. The tour didn't even route this way, but we still came through. It's so weird.
We're doing the Northeast to Midwest tour.
We haven't played a show in 3 days.
Hopping back into this record before we, get off on more stories here.
Mm-hmm.
It's 9 songs. They're all great in their own right. I know that I did see like a little bit of a write-up how, and we've kind of hinted at it, where each song is kind of its own thing, but then they kind of all, I'm trying to remember how you kind of put it, they all kind of like tie back into each other in Steeplechase, to kind of bring it all to its close, because I think you kind of said like that would be like the. I'm probably butchering all of this in my head.
Okay.
Hold on. Yeah,
I'll
I'm doing great. But if you understand what I'm getting at, please feel free to chime in and have me stop talking.
Oh, you're talking about the sort of overarching theme of this metaphor where
Yeah.
Steeplechase is this old Coney Island attraction theme park that used to exist and burnt down in 1907. And we used that as sort of an idea of a place that your friends kind of live in your mind when you haven't seen them in a long time. And from the last time you see them to maybe the time you die, is sort of the overarching theme of it. And then Steeplechase, the very last song, is sort of the most like on the nose expression of what happens.
Yes, exactly. That's what I was getting at.
Yeah.
Probably put.
Not ours.
No, I mean, I think for whatever reason, like that, like it's such a layered. I don't know. I feel like when people make records like this, they usually don't talk about them. Like they sort of just like let them be. And I just like can't stop talking. So like I feel like it is kind of a hard thing to like, well, I am always like, okay, but the horses tie into it this way, and the Grim Reaper is he's Karen from like Greek mythology, and that's because he's on the River Styx, but it's not the River Styx, it's the East River. Where like there's all these little pieces that like tie into it. It's like it's something. It's a fun like core that we were able to use as a way to like write different songs that all sort of like tie back to each other.
It's like Lord of the Rings.
It's like Lord of the Rings. No, I mean, I feel like we're both sort of. I'm pretty adverse to like story albums. Like I don't want to write a record that has like characters, like it's not like I'm trying to be like, okay, this is our main character. We're not writing the wall, you know what I mean? Like but it's I think that there's no shade to anyone who does that. If you can pull it off, it's pretty crazy. But for us, it's more just like it's less interesting to just say exactly what you mean, because otherwise you would just say it to somebody. It's more helpful to express emotion through like visual themes and stuff. So this was just a way of like incepting into someone's mind the vibe that we were trying to accomplish.
Okay. Sorry, I was just seeing if Johns was going to have any input, but just a smile, I think, gave it away that he was into it. No,
what's
like
that line? What's that? What movie is it? Is it Old School or something? Where like Will Ferrell goes like blacks out and gives this like answer to some question on the podium, and then they're just like, no, that's perfect.
Yeah.
I've never seen that movie.
I was a bro. I saw it.
I've seen it multiple times.
You're a bro.
Yeah. It's a classic. You gotta watch it at least once.
Bro classic.
Yeah. Well, if someone was looking at Ferried Away, what would? No, that's a dumb question. Maybe I'll
ask
it. I'm not going to cut it anyways. Let's ask it. So we just talked about how, that was a bro movie. If someone's listening to Ferried Away, what would be the bro song or like the classic song off of this one?
The classic.
What's the bro song on Ferried Away?
Damn.
It's a great question.
It's really, really good question. Thought-provoking, in fact.
I would say if it was up to me, the broiest. You know what's weird? Actually, in my experience with bros, the actual vibe of the song does not matter. What bros love to do is take their shirt off and put their fists in the air and scream along to something. So I would have to say that Learn to Float is the most broiest song. Because you can scream along to that song, and if you do see us live, and if we play that song, you should.
See, I disagree. I feel like the changing time signature would really throw off the beer pong.
No, they got it. They can handle it.
No, you can't be mixing it up halfway. Well, although maybe because there's that Drake and Travis Scott song.
Yeah, sicko mode.
Sicko mode. Learn to Float's our sicko mode.
You might call Learn to Float our sicko mode.
A lot of people are saying.
Many people are saying that.
I saw it in Rolling Stone. I saw it.
Wow, I got to look that up and repost it.
By the time this episode comes out, this will.
But you know, they're all solid songs. I can't stress enough how great this album is and how much I've enjoyed listening to it. You know, I know we've kind of jumped around. We kind of talked a little bit of music videos. We kind of talked about some like key points in some of the songs. We talked about, you know, the most bros song, if there is one, off of this album. But I mean, really, as much as I can hype it up, I think people just really need to go out and listen to this song and let it resonate with you and let it engulf you in the best ways. You know, we kind of hinted at it earlier. You do have a tour coming up at the end of April with Teen Suicide and Awake but Still in Bed. You know, a lot of people that definitely everyone go check those dates and be ready to experience that in person. Do you have any other tours lined up for later this year or next year?
Yeah, we're booking one in June right now. We're playing Pug Fest outside of Detroit at the end of June, and we're working on some dates around that will probably include stuff like Brooklyn and Jersey and Toronto and maybe something upstate New York, maybe something Ohio, but we're working out the details right now.
Yeah. Well, everyone be ready for those, and we'll talk links just in a little bit. But I know I'm hoping one of these upcoming tours will stop by Minneapolis and not hit the MOA, Mall of America, and we'll just get non-Caribbean food and keep you guys safe and sane while we rock out to this album. Before we start to transition, like I said, I know we kind of jumped all around this album, but is there anything I missed between this album or Stay Inside that you want the people to know about?
No, I don't want them to know anything. We're very private people.
We're so private. No, I mean, I want you to listen to the record. I'm excited. I don't care if you listen to anything else. Check out Ferried Away. I think it's really good. I think we all did a good job, and that's really follow us on YouTube. We've got our own YouTube channel where all the videos are. So you know we'll release more.
Give us money.
I promise you, if you subscribe to that channel, you'll get another video at one point.
That's true.
That's a good trade-off. I subscribed today, so I'm just waiting for that video when it comes.
Beautiful.
Doing my part. But as we start to transition here, this is obviously Beers to the Bands. You don't have to be drinking on these episodes, but I know the two of you have a couple beverages, or at least had a couple beverages in front of you on this fine Wednesday. What are you drinking tonight?
I'm rocking an old fashioned and also an iced coffee that we've made here for my beverage cart.
It's true. And then you fed me orange wine. Yes. That's all I know about it. It's orange wine. It was good. Wine.
Orange wine's very cool in Greenpoint right now. Do you know about Greenpoint, Brooklyn? It's horrible here.
Don't come here.
It was really cool 10 years ago when I moved in, and now it is just swarming with the most awful
yuppies.
FinTech yuppies and all. But you know what? I like orange wine.
We're kind of yuppie too.
Just don't let them know that though. Otherwise you lose it all.
Don't let them know.
We've talked about poses earlier. You can't let them know that you're one of them liking orange wine.
They know. They know already.
Oh, they know. Is there like a special place where orange wine is?
I buy my orange wine from the wine store down the street called Dandelion. And it's manufactured all over the place, I believe.
Mm.
But I'm not really interested in understanding how the sausage gets made.
Don't tell me. I don't want to read Upton Sinclair anymore.
And on my end, to start this episode, I had a nice good old Colt 45. I feel like that's the complete opposite of orange wine. Now that we're talking about it, in the
That's
best
so.
Who's drinking the broiest drink in the?
No, there's no natty ice in this house. I swear. Because then I switched to good old PBR. Can't go wrong with a 16-ounce can of PBR.
A little tall boy.
Yeah, hits the spot in the best way. But that's the little drink segment. Now we're gonna get into the last segment of these episodes, which is always my kind of favorite segment. We've already kind of been hinting at some of these stories, but this is kind of where we talk about some fun stories from you guys' time of music, whether it's shows, tours, time recording. Obviously, there's music videos that I'm sure some shenanigans happen at as well. As I normally say, they can be anything horrendous to tremendous, or any adjective in between. I like to think about it think about the stories you always reminisce about with your friends. Those are usually the best stories that everyone loves to hear.
From tour specifically?
Tour, time and music, whatever. I'd say more time and music than specifically just tour, I guess.
Time in music.
Okay, there. I feel like one of these people, it's involved in St. Vitus, which is a venue we play a lot. So anyway, we were playing this show in Connecticut, at this place called Red Nawa, and it was a DIY spot. And our tour was combined with this other tour.
No.
This is the first thing that popped into my head. And we were playing with For Your Health and Dreamwell. And our tour was combined with this band called Extinction AD, which I think is actually people know about this band. And we were loading in our gear, and they wouldn't share drums with us because they had these 56-part drum kits. And one of them, on the way down or up, we were trying to get out of their way of a hallway and being polite and stuff. And one of them just goes, before we'd even said hi, watch out, real band coming through. With their drum kit, and they were being very serious about it, and then we just didn't talk to them the entire night, and there was just this that I was just, I don't know why that just popped into my head. Sometimes you're on tour and you're just wow, I don't like people at all.
It was a very bad show that for lots of reasons, but one thing I do remember about it is that after the show, we were all kind of hanging out outside, and Johns and Lawless, who this is sort of uncharacteristic for Lawless. And it's hard to explain why this was so funny to me.
Our other guitars.
The other guitars. Johns and Lawless both started blasting the Venga Boys song. What's that song called? We
like to party. Wait, is that one?
Yeah. Yeah. The Six Flags theme song. Yeah. As loud as the fucking rental van would play it, and then started dancing in front of the other band's vans to the song, which made me laugh so hard. Because everyone was sort of bummed about the show, and then they were just, I guess, trying to cheer people up, or just sort of realize things didn't matter. And
I think we were just losing it. And Vishnu, our drummer, who is very well behaved usually on that tour, was not. And he was shit can drunk. And I think he was just egging me on.
So that was a good one.
Yeah, that was a fun show. But it's those moments where it's just so dumb. Do I actually have any problem with these people? Probably not. Who cares?
Right.
But these dumb moments where you're just that was bad. Oh, suddenly I have this I'm doing air quotes shared drama with my friends, and you just get really close with people, and that's just the coolest thing about being on tour is just hanging out with people you like.
Yeah, that's definitely one thing I miss. Is just being in the van with my best friends. Yeah, the drives suck. You play a show for a couple hours, but then you're still just with your best friends the entire time and just having a great time.
Why don't you get back in the van with them? Have you listened to Ferried Away? It's about your van. It's about your
Well, that band broke up, so and I moved away, and it makes it
Man.
difficult to do that now. Yeah, so
R.I.P.
but sad.
You need to start a new genre, Mall of America core.
Yeah. Mall of America goth.
God,
Yeah, there we go.
Mall Goth of America.
Actually, what needs to happen is we just need to open a venue at the Mall of America and just let everyone have to experience the mall when they get there.
Wait, is there not a venue at the Mall of America?
Not a music venue. There's a comedy like store venue, but not like a music venue.
That's so weird. Why isn't there like out
It
of
would
all
work.
you'd think they would at least have like bad bands there or something?
We played this one place called Healer in Indianapolis that like
It was so
we
cool.
pulled up on there and it was like it's in a strip mall and I was like, what the hell is this? Like this is supposed to be like a cool place. We're in a fucking strip mall.
Yeah, it was really sketch at first.
And like it was like in the back, it was just like, what is this? It's just like and then you get inside and it's just like the coolest place. And there's all it's very cavernous and they've like done it all up. And there's all these little rooms and these cool decorations everywhere. And every room's like a new theme. And then you also walk out of there and you're like, there's like acoustic ceiling tiles over here. This is literally like an old department store.
Yeah, it's like
What is
they
this?
took it in fabrics and
Right.
turned it into like one of the weirdest artsy venues in the state.
It was rad.
It's pretty cool.
That's sick. I remember we played this one spot in Georgia that, thinking back, it was kind of weird because like it was you pull in and it's just a bunch of like storage units, and then we got to like this in front of this one, and then it was like a record store inside this giant like storage unit. Like the storage unit is probably like the size of like my house. It was massive, but it was just kind of weird because it was like outside of town. We get in there, we play. They have like a whole stage. And I remember the band that I was with, they were doing a cover of Fat Lip on that tour. And in the song, it says like my mom should have had an abortion, and then we found out that the venue we were playing at, it was called His Rock, which was like His Rock as in like Jesus and God His Rock. So like they had to like quickly like nix the song and like I think they had to like I think he changed the lyric as he was singing it, but I can't remember what he changed it to not say abortion basically.
Coward. Complete coward behavior. When I was a
Yeah.
kid, when I was in high school, I was in a band and we would play like Christian venues because I grew up very fundamentalist Christian. And I considered myself a Christian at the time, but I'm like 17. And we played this one venue that was like a youth group center or something for Jesus called like the Upper Room. And in our set, we would play a cover of Blister in the Sun by Violent Femmes. And I'll be honest, I did not know what that song was about at 17. But I was singing the song, and like the guy ran downstairs, was like, "You have to stop.
What's it
Stop.
about?
Stop jacking up, apparently."
I didn't know that.
I mean,
Who knows that?
I didn't know. I was a kid, and they were like, "Stop! Cut the music," and they like cut us off, and I was like, "Why?" And I got really mad at them. I think I tried to keep playing it. I don't remember what happened, but there was like a whole thing where my parents got involved and like people were like mad, and I was just like, "I don't care, fuck you."
You've got to be such like people like that. Sorry, Brent, about you're talking shit on your town here, but like you've got to be such a loser
Not my town.
to like be in a place like that and know all of the bad stuff so in depth because you're trying to keep this shit good. Like there's this weird like I don't know. It's like it doesn't line up to me that you're supposed like how do you know this stuff in the first place? You're just like seeking out bad shit so you can prevent. I don't know.
They're all pedophiles.
They're yeah.
So I know we talked to the record, which can't stress enough how amazing it is. We kind of talked some fun stories, but I always like to leave off these episodes on a high note. So like my last question for the both of you is, from your time in Stay Inside, what has been your favorite moment that you've experienced so far?
Oh, I definitely don't have a favorite moment.
Explicitly.
Explicitly, I don't have a favorite moment.
So say a good one.
There was this one there were two shows at this place, Bushwick Public House, that we used to play, which is kind of like shitty, and someone got stabbed there, and then everyone quit because the management sucked and weren't doing anything to protect the staff. But it was really cool for a time because that's the only place that would book all of us and our friends' bands for cheap. So like there were a lot of randomly really good shows there for like 2 years. And the band I mentioned before, Nervous Dater, who's like one of our very good friends around here, kind of like broke. And they had just gotten in like this cool Stereo Gum article, and like we're just blowing up online a little bit, and people were really caring about them. And they played their album release show, and it's the first time anyone had ever played a show at Bushwick Public House where there were like people that were there that weren't our friends. Um, and it was sold out, and it was just crazy, and we're just like, oh wow, this is like a cool thing that's happening. And I just really liked that moment for everyone, this like kind of the excitement that's just like, oh cool, we did a good thing, us and our friends, you know. Bryn,
That was
your
a cool
favorite
one.
moment?
I don't know. My favorite moment. I don't know. I just think that everything we do is kind of getting more fun. So I feel bad kind of like just saying like the last tour had some of the coolest shows we've ever played, where it was just like people were excited to hear it and we were excited to play it, and everyone was really happy to see us. So I don't know, like that was the best. I think like the last show we played, was that the last show we played, period, in Portland?
No, we played a few in Brooklyn since.
We did.
Yeah, we played the piano show, and we played the
theater
seven
show.
That was before.
Oh, that was before the. Oh, I have a bad memory, but yeah, playing in Portland was really cool. I'd never been to like the Pacific Northwest, so just like walking around after the tour was over, it was with my friend from who was letting us stay at their house. Lots of really good times in Portland. I don't know, it's a good time.
Yeah. I mean, all solid moments. I hope the both of you keep experiencing more and more solid moments in Stay Inside's career. I'm stoked on what the future looks like, whether it's EP3 or LP3 or whatever route you decide to take it. Ferried Away was sick, and I'm stoked to see kind of what that next trajectory takes the entire band.
Hopefully, it will be pretty soon.
Well, I'll be waiting. I know there's records and everything. So if anyone's looking for merch, music, or Stay Inside in general, where can they find it?
You can follow us on Twitter at Stay Inside Music, and you can follow us on Instagram at Stay Inside BK. You can just go to our store at stayinside.store and buy all of the things we have for sale there, and probably get links to our social medias there too.
Mm-hmm.
And go on Spotify, Apple Music, or Bandcamp to listen to the record, or Deezer if you're in France, apparently.
Well, depending where you found this episode, whether it's Facebook, Instagram, X, Twitter, Threads, or you watched the YouTube version and got to see their lovely faces like I did tonight, make sure
there's a YouTube version. I'm on camera right now. I was eating.
Yeah. Watch it on YouTube. So if you like see Brinny.
Oh, cut that.
But check the hyperlinks down below. Follow them on all the socials. Be ready for new music, new tours. Go get copies of the vinyl. I think the website still has a sale where you can get all three. You can get EP2, LP1, and LP2 for a nice little bundle price. And I know all my vinyl collectors out there, getting a deal on a nice little package of vinyls makes it that much better. And I know I just said vinyls and everyone's gonna hate me, but that's okay. The episode's almost over. One last big thank you to Bryn and Chris for taking the time out of their Wednesday to sit down with me. I really appreciate it. And go listen to Ferried Away. And I'll catch everyone on the next episode.
Thanks,
Thanks for having us.